Hi, I'm Aidan Rodley and this is Mainland Matters as we look back on what was a really interesting week in South Island racing and also ahead to this week's Ashburton meeting. Well, who would have thought the snow that we saw at Wingatui would have such an effect on racing as well. And we saw some pretty amazing pictures coming through as part of the coverage from Wingatui on Sunday also. We also saw a really memorable moment with Rupesh Yun getting his first win. I spoke to Rupesh this morning. He's still really buzzing around what's happened on Saturday. He's had a decent time here in New Zealand, coming of course from Mauritius and the footsteps of Goss and Yagu and the Madu boys, Rohan and Krishna as well. And he's just really excited about the prospects ahead, getting his first win. We'll just take in a quick look of that as well, because here's Atomic out in front under Rupesh and able to kick away for what was in the end a really comfortable win. Nice to be able to do it in that sort of style. Of course, he's apprenticed to Mike McCann at Riccarton. Speaking to Mike this morning as well, he's really happy with his progress. I've spoken to Mike about Rupesh a couple of times at track work when I've been down in Christchurch, and he's always had a really high opinion of him. He says he's got a great work ethic, he rides well, he's got a good brain on him, he's a good thinker, and even in that situation where others were wanting to scout a little bit wider, Rupesh backing his own judgment to stay to the inside and get a good win on Atomic. It was pretty impressive in taking out that second race at Wingatui. Talking about Rohan Madu, he's back in the country, of course, now married, went back to Mauritius for that stint away. Of course, he had that fall and a little bit of concussion, which sort of meant, you know, he's going to have some time on the sidelines, and he took the time to get back to Mauritius and get married as well. Congratulations to him and Mrs. Madu as well. And of course, he will be back riding in New Zealand. That will be as soon as next Thursday, or might be next Wednesday at Riccarton. So we're looking forward to that return. Okay, a chance for us to just have a look at another one out of Wingatui from Sunday. I just wanted to show you this horse. Actually, we'll just go back a little bit further into this. You'll be able to get it a little bit better on yours. So this is Hallelujah Brother, prepared by Ander Hoffman, ridden by Kin Kuo, and in really testing conditions. You can see just how tough this was, and this was early in the day as well. Hallelujah Brother just wouldn't say die and kicked away for what in the end was a 10.5 length win over Pickens. Speaking to Amber this morning, says this is a horse who really does appreciate a bog, loves a bog, she said, and she's just a little bit wary that he might not get the same conditions that he was able to get so much to his liking there at Wingatui on Sunday. Says the next step's probably Ormadu. Went up a heap of points for that win, but was so lowly rated anyhow, so still up to 62 now. Probably heads to Ormadu for a 65 2200 metre race. I think it's that end jumpers flat type event where we'll see him next time out. But a really nice win there in the opener at Wingatui. Obviously snow there just causing that meeting just to be shortened in the end. A couple of other things, Winter Cup entries, of course, we're continuing with that path of withdrawals. A couple of northern horses who will come out. Not Ideal, who was so good in winning at Ruakaka on Saturday. Ken Harrison's opting against that, probably more looking towards a Wait for Age pathway, maybe freshening for a Foxbridge plate before looking into a Tarzino. So that horse withdrawn from the Winter Cup, and also Crystallise came out of Winter Cup. The withdrawals there earlier today. Another thing that I've just picked up this week, just from doing some research of my own, is that this year's Group 1 New Zealand 2000 Guineas at Riccarton, I believe, will be the 100th Group 1 race to be run at Riccarton. That takes into account 45 runnings of the 2000 Guineas, which was the first Group 1 race staged in New Zealand when Teddy Doon took that out for Graham Rogerson back in November of 1978, and 45 runnings of the New Zealand 1000 Guineas plus 9 runnings of the New Zealand Cup when that was run at Group 1 level. So 45 plus 9 gives us 99 Group 1s already taken place at Riccarton. So that should mean that the 2000 Guineas, if I've got my calculations right, I did run it past Tim Mills earlier this week and he wasn't saying no, but that would be the 100th Group 1 to be run at Riccarton, which would add a real sense of infidence leading into New Zealand Cup week this year. Okay, chance for us to go back and have a look at last week's racing now. We saw, obviously, the Wingatui meeting, but also just want to take in the meeting from Riccarton on the polytrack. Congratulations to Andrew Carston, who picked up a treble at this meeting. He goes now to 36 wins for the season, just 2 away from his personal best season. He'll be looking to eclipse that in the coming days. Of course, Ashburton, his next opportunity on Thursday. But this was the performance that I thought was maybe the pick of the week. This is Third Decree. Just brought 3 and 4 wide into the straight. You can see the horse just starting to pick up. Now, this is a fresh up effort and does it in such good style. A horse who's got any amount of ability looking at this performance. The closing 633.93, the last 422.85, and just does it really nice to beat Over To You, who was well backed into the race, King Cougar into third. They've run that in 109.48, and for a horse to be doing that fresh up and in that sort of style says, yeah, we've got a really promising one on our hands there. So that was Third Decree under Kavish Chowdhury, a horse now who, according to Michael and Matthew Pittman, will head on towards the 2 and 3 year old race to Ormadu, to 1200 metre race. Just fits in perfectly for her, and that's on Ormadu Cup Day at the end of July. And from there, they're looking at maybe getting this horse into something like a steward's handicap in November at a really nice weight, and she's got the ability and she's quick enough, no question. So she's an interesting prospect heading forward. So a couple of good meetings, Wingatui and Riccarton last week. This week we take you to Ashburton on Thursday, and a 10 race card, bumper card too, with lots of really good fields. They're good betting races. The key form race there is the Winter Cup Trial. I want to have a look at one of the lead ups here, and we'll take in, this is the Daphne Bannon Memorial last week at Riccarton. Right out wide in the red cap is Beno running home right nicely for third. In closer, 4 off the fence is Louis Louet, who was able to settle a lot closer this day. Does just nose out Beno. They run second and third and will clash again this week. Look to be key contenders in this race. Chiquito, who runs 5th, will go around in this as well, as to, I think, seriously from further back in the race. But yeah, nice performances from both Louis and Beno, and they are contenders in this week's Winning Edge Presentations Winter Cup Trial. That will go around race 7 at Ashburton on Thursday, and I look forward to that being one of the key races as part of a bumper Ashburton card. Obviously, there's a real thirst for getting to that turf meeting with big numbers waiting, and obviously we've got a niche for both those polytrack runners and also the turf runners. But we are building into what is one of the really good weeks of racing in the winter in New Zealand. That is Winter Cup Festival, which will have, of course, the Grand National Hurdles and Steeples the last day. We saw West Coast winning the Hawke's Bay Steeplechase on Saturday. Mark Olligan saying, yes, the Grand National Steeplechase is on the cards, first of all heading towards a Wellington Steeplechase before getting to Riccarton. So we're looking forward to him being part of that, and of course defending his title. He's so good in winning the steeples last year. That wraps us up on Mainland Matters. Catch us for the Ashburton coverage on Trackside on Thursday. Otherwise, we'll see you again next week.
Oh, I like big plots and I cannot lie. You are the brothers I can't deny. That when a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung. You get sprung. Oh, you get sprung. Deep in the jeans she's wearing, I looked and I can't stop staring. Baby got back. Ooh, my anaconda don't want none unless she got back.